left out some of the connections, but the text is on the front of it, so you can see the original. You can see that it's
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Silver Spring. My name is Esther McBride, and I'm this morning's worship associate, and my pronouns are she and her. I'd like to welcome all of our visitors in the congregation today. Linda Barrett is our welcoming captain. She's here to answer your question, and she's right back there waving. I'm losing my voice, but I'll do my best. So feel free to find Linda, but she looks like she's very easy to find. And she'll tell you how you can connect here at UUCSS. This time of year can seem like the cold of winter will last forever. Yet it's right about now, that farmers of old in the northern hemisphere began preparations for spring planting. This morning, we'll consider what wisdom Brigid, goddess and saint, and the ancient themes of Imbolc and Candlemass can offer us today. Children of all ages are invited to stay in the sanctuary for the whole hour today. We have a nursery for babies and children aged 6 months to 5 years, who would prefer to spend the worship service there. Each Sunday, we broadcast the service live on Zoom for those who aren't able to join us in person. And we take time to greet one another. We can wave to the monitor, to our friends usually. But this morning, we have a very full service. So we invite those attending on Zoom to greet one another in the chat. And those present here in the sanctuary can now get up and say hello to each other. And in a minute or two, when the music starts, that will be the cue to return to our seats. The words to all hymns will be on the screen.
We should let you some problems this morning. Yeah, we just heard some problems. That's lovely. Very well done.
Thank you. So, wait. Number 163. For the earth forever turning, for the skies for every sea, for our lives for all we cherish, sing we our joyful song of peace. For the mountains, hills, and pastures, in their silent majesty, for the stars, for all the heavens, sing we our joyful song of peace. For the sun, for rain and thunder, for the seasons harmony, for our lives, for all creation, sing we our joyful praise to Thee. For the world we raise our voices, for the home that gives us birth. In our joy we sing, returning home to our blue hills of
To begin this morning, I offer you these words by my beloved colleague, Reverend Cynthia Landrum. In the bleak and cold winter, we gather ourselves in to light the fire, to warm our spirits, to kindle the flame of love and hope. Good morning, everyone. My name is Caitlin Cotter-Coilberg. I'm the Reverend Caitlin Cotter-Coilberg. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I am your minister of spiritual growth for this congregation. Reverend Kristen, our settled minister, was set to preach today, but is unfortunately still too sick to be with us here. I believe her sermon today is on the power of rest, literally the sermon she wrote, and then she's preaching that for us by resting, and she is with us on Zoom. So thank you, Reverend Kristen, for preparing this service and for preaching it to us in the most embodied way you could. And of course, we all hope that she recovers soon from this awful cold that has knocked her down. So it's now time to light our chalice, symbol of our free faith, and reaffirm our congregational commitment. I invite you to rise in body, voice, or spirit.
As we gather here for worship, we pledge ourselves to the endless search for truth, to the right of each to believe as mind, heart, and conscience dictate, to accept the responsibilities this freedom commands, and to implement our belief in the essential worth and dignity of every human being.
Holy
So our Time for All Ages today was written by the Reverend Elizabeth Sutter, or EB, as her friends call her. And since Reverend Kristen is homesick today, I've asked my mom, Cindy Cotter, to read it with me as it's written for two voices. Yay, indeed. Now, I don't know that it happened this way, but I do know that it's true. That once upon a time, there was a holy and powerful woman named Brigid. Maybe she was a woman. Maybe a saint, maybe she was a goddess. The mists of time and legend mean that there are many different stories about her and who she was and is. She lives in between.
They say she was born in the doorway of a barn at dawn on February 1st. So she was born in between, indoors and outdoors, winter and spring, day and night.
They say that when she was born, a light like a flame appeared out of her head and stretched all the way to the sky. Very startling for her mother, I'd imagine.
They say that she loves milk and butter. When she was a baby and couldn't eat, a white cow with red ears appeared to feed her with milk. And that when she was a girl, she gave away all her mother's supply of butter to the poor. Then, when she prayed, even more butter appeared, enough to replace all that she'd given away.
They say that she gave away precious things to poor people so they could buy food to feed their families.
They say she wanted to start a community dedicated to praying and good work. And so, one day, she came to the king and said, "Give me this land to build the community."
It was a good place, on a hill, near a lake for water, near a forest with wood for fires to keep warm, a good place to grow food, a place with blueberries to eat and make jam.
The king said, "No, this is my land."
So she and her sisters prayed for the king to change his mind. She asked again and said, "Give me as much land as my cloak will cover." Now, can you do much with the amount of land one person's cloak would generally cover? I don't know if you've been to a Renaissance fair lately, but it's not like, okay. Yeah, no, you can't, right? You can't.
So the king laughed at her and said, "Certainly, I will grant you this."
But Brigid's 4 sisters took her cloak and stretched it out. One of them walked east, one of them walked south, one of them walked west, one of them walked north, and the cloak grew and spread and covered the whole land. Everywhere they could see the whole place, she wanted to build a community.
And the king realized she was holy and blessed and gave her not just the land, but other gifts. And so they say that we gather under Brigid's cloak or mantle of healing and wonder.
They say that Brigid's place has a holy flame that had burned from the beginning of time, and that Brigid would bless candles and hearths and forges, that she didn't have anywhere to hang her cloak, she would hang it on a sunbeam.
They say that Brigid's place had a holy well, and washing in the water or drinking it would heal you.
They say she brought life. If she leaned on something wooden, the dead wood would begin to sprout.
They say she could turn water into beer, and that cows that ran dry would give lots of milk if she touched them, so that no one was ever hungry.
They say this is Brigid's time of year.
Now, halfway in between the winter solstice and the spring equinox,
That now is a time to bless the candles and celebrate with milk and butter and blueberry jam, or the ginger snaps that we baked for you this weekend.
to tend the flame,
To drink healing waters.
to give food to people who need it,
To remember that even though the trees look dry and dead, they will sprout again.
to know that even though in many places snow covers ground like a cloak, the seeds are stirring and are alive, waiting for the spring.
And Catherine Buckler has a reading for us.
Good morning. Yes, I am Catherine Buckler. My pronouns are she and her. And I offer you these excerpts from Rest by the River by Thich Nhat Hanh. Suppose someone is holding a pebble and throws it into the air, and the pebble begins to fall down into a river. After the pebble touches the surface of the water, it allows itself to sink slowly into the river. It will reach the bed of the river without any effort. Once the pebble, maybe this will be better. Once the pebble is at the bottom of the river, it continues to rest. It allows the water to pass by. I think the pebble reaches the bed of the river by the shortest path because it allows itself to fall without making any effort. We can allow ourselves to rest like a pebble. We can allow ourselves to sink naturally without effort to the position of sitting, to the position of resting. Resting is a very important practice. We have to learn the art of resting. You should allow your body and your mind to rest. Our mind, as well as our body, needs to rest. The problem is that not many of us know how to allow our bodies and mind to rest. We are always struggling. Struggling has become... I'm going to rest for a moment. Can you hear me if I go on? No. Okay. We are always struggling. Struggling has become a kind of habit. We cannot resist being active, struggling all the time. We struggle even during sleep. We have to practice in order to become able to transform this habit in us. The habit of struggle has become a powerful source of energy that is shaping our behavior, our actions, and our reactions. In our consciousness, there are wounds also, lots of pains. Our consciousness also needs to rest in order to restore itself. Our consciousness is just like our body. Our body knows how to heal itself if we allow it the chance to do so. When we get a cut on our finger, we don't have to do anything except to clean it and allow it the time to heal. because our body knows how to heal itself. The same thing is true with our consciousness. Our consciousness knows how to heal itself if we know how to allow it to do so. But we don't allow it. We always try to do something. We worry so much about healing, which is why we do not get the healing we need. Only if we know how to allow them to rest can our body and our soul heal themselves. The Buddha said, "My practice is the practice of non-practice." That means a lot. Give up all struggle. Allow yourself to be, to rest. That is why I like to define mindfulness as the energy that helps us to be there 100%, the energy of your true presence. Breathing in the here, in the here. Breathing out in the now, in the now. Although these are different words, they mean exactly the same thing. I have arrived in the here. I have arrived in the now. I am home in the here. I am home in the now. When you practice like that, you practice stopping. You stop running. You stop struggling. You allow yourself to rest, to heal, to calm.
And please, let's join in the meditation on breathing.
When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Catherine. I love that Reverend Kristen chose that Buddhist reading for this service about Brigid, because I think, it fills so much of what this holiday, about what Brigid was about. They say this time of year we are all under Brigid's mantle, and that means that we are held in gentleness and invited to grieve and to rest. And Brigid is also known as the bridge, right? So like the St. Brigid's new center that they've developed in Ireland now, they have people coming of all faiths and no faith to talk about these themes that run through all who love and celebrate Brigid and Imbolc and Candlemass. So I offer you now this homily written by Reverend Kristen. For generations in the Northern Hemisphere, this time of year was primarily for resting. All the crops had already been gathered in, animals used for food had already been slaughtered and preserved, and no seeds could be planted yet. Without artificial light, most hens stopped laying eggs during the darkest days of winter, so people didn't even have to collect eggs anymore. I imagine for many it was a time of wondering and hoping and praying that the food they set aside would last them through this fallow season. But it was also a time when rest would have been important. Fewer hours of daylight meant fewer hours for work, and the less work they did, right, the fewer calories they would need to eat and candles they would need to burn. So in this way, rest would have been quite literally essential for surviving the winter, right? Rest was essential for surviving the winter. And these days, it can be a struggle to rest, right? Maybe it's our capitalistic culture. Maybe it's our ability to just turn on electric lights anytime we want. Maybe it's the Protestant work ethic that's warped our perception of what's good and healthy and important. Maybe it's a combination of all three. But for whatever reason, I think a lot of us have lost that understanding that generations of humans used to have. The importance of rest, especially this time of year. In some ways, I think this unhealthy obsession with productivity is tied to liberal religion, too. As you use, our focus is usually on the difference we can make in the world, how we can become the change we are wish to see in the world, how we are called to be the engines of transformation. And often this is an important message for us and the world to receive. But it's also true that there are seasons in life when change comes to us. There are times in our worlds we aren't the ones doing the transformation, but instead the ones being transformed. In a faith so focused on our responsibility, our agency, our moral obligation, I hope we remember that none of us is individually responsible when things in the world don't get better. I hope we can all rest in that. There are seasons when even though trouble seems to wait on us in every turn, it's okay for us to unclench, to rest, and to trust in the forces beyond us at work in the world. Our agency is sacred and powerful. But we aren't alone. We aren't alone. There are powers bigger than we are that we can depend on and align our energies and our love and our work, and there is a strength in that. One such power is what many neo-pagans call the wheel of the world, or the turning of the seasons. And Brigid, whether goddess or saint, is a reminder that what feels like the height of winter, that spring is truly on its way. What feels like the height of winter, spring is truly on its way. Imbolc, Candlemass, Groundhog Day all mark this time in between, just as Brigid was born and lives in between. Which, side note to Kristen's sermon here, I also learned, because I spent all week researching Brigid, and now I'm like Brigid obsessed, that there is this tradition in Ireland that if it rains on St. Brigid's Day, kind of like on Groundhog Day, then that means that the hag of winter is not paying attention if it rains, and so spring is going to come soon, and it'll be a gentle spring and winter. So if it rains on February 1st, in Ireland, that's a good sign for the Irish, and I don't know what it means for us here, but we have a groundhog, I guess. But I love that there's that kind of universal, like, what happens on this day thing, right? Anyway. So though it's cold and dreary just now, in a couple days we will reach the midpoint between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. We will begin to notice the daylight hours growing longer again. Snowdrops will begin to appear. Chickens who stopped laying will begin to lay eggs again, which might be good for egg prices, right? This is a powerful time of year because soon we will be able to taste and see that spring is on its way. May we all find ways to rest our bodies and our consciousness. When we grow weary with the weight of the world, may we find ways to rest and trust in powers bigger than we are. And in this time of in-between, may those powers send us signs, give us hope, and guide us on paths towards warmth, light, and new life. So at this time, we're going to do a meditation with stones. And I need some volunteers. Do I have anyone willing to help me pass out stones to everybody? I know we don't have as many kids. Do I have anyone who's like, I'm in the, yeah, thanks. Yeah, if you would come up and grab a basket full of stones and start passing them around to folks. Do I have any other, the kids are doing crafts in the back, but do you want to come up and pass stones out too, kids? You don't have to, you can keep crafting. All right. I just ask as you're passing out stones that you can remain aware of the camera on our interpreter so that we can continue to see what is being said. So there's baskets of stones up there, and we want to make sure everybody gets one, and we're staying aware of the camera. Thank you. So stones are for holding, not throwing, as I remind my toddler. Now, all over Ireland, there are sacred wells dedicated to Brigid. She is the goddess and the saint of both fire and water, and her holy sites are carved and formed in stone. There's stories of her moving stones to reveal wells, sites of holy water. These are natural springs, stones moved away that pilgrims can access these natural springs as places of healing. I love that at one of the most famous of these wells, the stones at one of her most popular wells called Brigid Slippers. There's these stones called Brigid Slippers. I daydream of one day going and resting with Brigid Slippers, and again with the like Brigid inviting us to rest, right? Like stones as slippers. These wells made from stones are places of healing, since she was a goddess or a saint of healing where people go to reflect and to be refreshed, to leave offerings that range from ribbons and candles to sparkly hula hoops and beads and poetry. So I can't take all of you to Ireland, but we can take a minute together to meditate with these stones. So if you still need a stone, please raise your hand now. Okay, we need a few more stones back there. So we're going to meditate with these stones, and then you'll be invited to bring them up to our altar, which you can see I also put my son's little plush fire under it, so it's like an altar / hearth fire for us today. And you'll notice there's a St. Brigid's cross on there from one of our beloved members who is no longer with us, created that. So as you hold this stone, I invite you to reflect on what is feeling heavy in your life. I invite you to reflect on what is feeling heavy in your life. What are the stones in your life blocking your path? What do you need help moving or removing? What would help you move into a new season in your life? As you hold your stone, imagine you are putting all of these barriers into it, letting the weight you carry transfer into the stone. It is the practice of this congregation for those who have suffered a great loss in the last year to rise in body or spirit during a moment of silence, so the whole congregation can bear witness to their grief. Before we do that, let us acknowledge the great losses this country continues to suffer. So many lives have been lost because this country has chosen to prioritize police impunity and access to weapons over accountability, equality, and safety. During Nichols, 19 people in Montgomery Park, California, and so many others have died just in this month of January. So many families shattered, so many communities terrorized. Spirit of love and justice, in these times when it feels like we've tried all there is to try, said all there is to say, fought in all of the ways there is to fight for police to stop murdering Black folk, for public safety to come first before profit, let us remember that we are not alone in the work for change, and that our efforts matter even when things feel hopeless. And times like these keep fresh in our minds just how much change happens to a seed underground before it breaks through the surface of the earth. And times like these help us take the time we need to not become numb, to mourn, and to rededicate ourselves to liberation and justice. So if you have suffered a deep personal loss in the last year, I now invite you to stand or raise your hand during the silence so that the congregation can bear witness to your grief. And now, with mourning in our hearts and stones in our hand, and again, I invite you to put the weight of your grief into this stone. Let us enter into a time of quiet together with the sounds of life around us. At this time, I invite you to come forward as Phyllis plays music for us, to lay down your stone and to pick up a candle. If you wish, you can place your stone next to Brigid's birch branches, or you can drop it into our well here. I made us a little well of glycerin instead of holy water, so your stones will sink slowly. I invite you to come forward as you are so moved. Place your stone, take a candle. we are held in love beyond belief. Would you all say that with me again? In every joy and sorrow, we are held in love beyond belief. Please join me in Golden Breaks the Dawn. Golden Breaks the Dawn, number 353.
It's the same one you've heard. So.
Golden breaks the dawn of the eastern sun, over lake and lawn, sets its course to run. Birds above the sky, flowers bloom below, through the earth and sky lies great mercy slow. As the spinning rolls away the night, nature wears the robe, sun of morning light. The grace in me too, as in skies above, teach me to be true, fill my heart with love.
Left my glasses, but I think I know what to do. Now we invite you into our congregation's weekly practice of generosity. It's on the screen. You can see on the screen, there are many ways to give your gift to our congregation. If you're here in person, you can also place your offering in one of the offering plates that's just about to come forward. And the music will begin in just a moment.
In the darkness we walk with light. In the darkness we walk with light. Like the night blooming jasmine, we light up the light. In the darkness we walk with light. In the darkness we walk In the darkness, we walk with darkness. We walk in the darkness, we walk with light. We walk in the darkness, we walk with light. Like the night moving jasmine, with light of the night. In the shine darkness flows, we walk with light. We walk, the shining darkness glows in me. We walk, its warmth and beauty set me free. There is a darkness in my soul. Its warmth and power makes me whole. Its goodness flows in light, sets me free in the darkness. Its eyes darkness, we walk with in the darkness, we walk with light. In the darkness, we walk with light.
I have my glasses. Good morning. My name is Katie Haig, and I'm a member of the board. My pronouns are she and her. Our church is not only the organization that puts together these services, we are a vibrant community of volunteers and staff, a member of the Unitarian Universalist Association, and part of the global UU denomination. Today, we have 4 announcements. Number 1, our first announcement is about religious education. Reverend Caitlin is collecting feedback about RE. If you or your kids have participated in RE this year, please make sure to take the survey. You can find the link in the All Church email. Our second announcement is in skit form.
All right. So we're all set. I'm so excited that construction is going to start in a couple of weeks. Woo! We have to fix our new sprinkler system first. Okay. Yeah, I think that might delay things. All right, so. That looks good.
Well, we have to bring a whole new water line from the street.
A new water line? You're kidding. Whoa. No, I'm not.
The architect's gonna have to work on that.
Okay, all right. Okay, that's,
That might send us back a week or two.
okay, all right, so, what,
Down in here.
okay.
Oh, no! Now I will need to revise all of my drawings to
to show the new water line placement under the sidewalk, and you also need stronger structural supports for the windows. It's one thing after another.
Well, this is how these things work.
Sure is. Okay, all right, okay.
Here.
Okay, no, so here, okay. All right, that's good. Wait.
I'm from the county permitting office. I'm from the county permitting office, and before I can issue your construction permit, you're gonna have to figure out how can the fire trucks access the building, guys. There's a lot of rules about that.
Okay. Well, that's pretty important, so, okay. Another delay, okay. All right, so, okay, right there, okay. So, but that's good, that's good.
What is all that going to cost? We have to find a less expensive way to do things.
Okay, that's gonna take some thinking, so, okay.
Maybe
So,
a little delay.
maybe not, maybe here.
Oh, wait a minute. Got another problem here.
What's going on?
We're having a lot of trouble finding subcontractors to bid on the job, and we just gotta have competition.
Well, that's true, we
It'll
just,
take a lot longer.
okay, well, we can't do it without the subcontractors, so, okay. All right, so where are we, where do you think,
Until all of that's settled and the contract signed, this loan is not happening.
well, we need this money.
You need a contract and you need everything settled.
Okay. All right. Okay, let's see, so we're down here. Okay. Whoa. All right.
It's one thing after another.
It sure is.
It's
One
been
thing.
a heck of a year.
It has been a heck of a year. Oh my gosh, one thing, and like nobody else, really, nobody else. Okay, wow. Well, at this time, it looks like we've got some details to work through. So it looks like we're targeting maybe the end of May for the start of construction.
And folks, I would like to let you know that the Capital Improvements Committee has been working for the last 18 months.
Yes, they have.
Yes, they have. So that we could get together all the details on the community building, define what we need done, and get all the specs and the drawings done. So we've been at it that whole time.
Thank you. And we're sweating all the big stuff and the little stuff, and really we're down to the little stuff. Where the fire truck parks, where the water main's gonna come into the building. So it's little stuff, but it is gonna take a little bit more time.
So we appreciate your generous gifts to the capital campaign that's going to make all this possible, and your understanding about these unavoidable delays. Thank you.
Okay, we're on to the third announcement. The steering committee has some especially exciting news to share today. But first, please mark your calendars for Sunday, February 12th. Right after the service that day, please join us for to celebrate the success of the capital campaign and the annual budget drive. We will gather to share in fun, delicious chili, and give thanks to the volunteers who supported this effort. We are asking for 12 to 15 members to bring a pot of chili to share. Meat, vegetarian, and vegan are all welcome. And now for the big reveal. This week, we have reached a major milestone thanks to your generosity and your vision. We have raised over $1 million for our capital campaign. Yay. As of yesterday, we raised $1,004,730. So that is 84% of our goal. And we're so excited. Thanks, you guys. And again, we can't wait to make it to our goal of $1.2 million. Your pledge could be the one that gets us there. Also, as of yesterday, we have raised $352,921 toward our 2023-24 annual budget drive. That is 74% of our goal. And our goal is $475,000. I think that's marked on the chart over there. We have so much to celebrate, but we need your help closing the gap between what we've raised so far and our needs for the capital campaign and for next year's budget. Reaching our capital campaign goal will enable UUCSS to enjoy a more comfortable, functional, and accessible campus. Meeting our goal for next year's church budget will prevent UUCSS from having to face some of the hard decisions other congregations have had to make, like cutting staff or programs to balance the budget. We're so close. We just need your pledge to meet all of this campaign's needs and to continue building momentum into 2023. If you have not yet scheduled a one-on-one visit to talk about the campaign and you'd like one, please let a member of the steering committee know and we will help you get one set up. And if you don't have time for a visit, you can now pledge online through the UUCSS website. That was number 3. Now I'm going to turn things over to Emily Tien for our 4th announcement about the auction and a capital campaign testimonial.
Hi, I'm Emily Tien. My pronouns are she, hers. All right, so yes, Linda Barrett, Emily Harris, and I are very excited about our Spring Fling auction, which will be held March 11th to the 19th. So mark your calendars for a virtual online opening event on the evening of March 11th. And like last year, the online silent auction will span 2 weekends. And we're going to close the auction this year, though, with an in-person live auction in the sanctuary right after church on March 19th. Yay! So please start thinking about items or events that you would like to donate. The auction website will be open for submission starting this Thursday, February 2nd. Yes, this week. So, and the links to the website will be in this week's all church email. All right, so if you have questions, please send an email to auction@uucss.org. All right. So now I'm switching and coming back. Okay, I'm doing the testimony. So my husband, Jim Street, and I have been members for just about 20 years. There's Jim Street. I love this community of like-minded liberal people. It was the place we chose to give our boys a spiritual foundation. We're grateful they got to experience coming of age and to take the Our Whole Lives course. Now, as I reflect on what this church community means to me, I realize how much I have benefited from the people and experiences here. Not only have I made solid friendships, I've learned so much from opportunities like the women's retreat, our book group, in-reach groups, and workshops like the ones Charles Alexander led about race and equity. Of course, the annual auction is one of my favorite events. Are you surprised? Because I have won fun events like dance parties, movie or game nights, wine, beer, or tequila tastings. I've attended delicious and elaborate dinners from generous hosts. And by the way, don't forget to start planning events you're going to donate this year. Now, Jim and I pledged to the capital campaign, even though our income has greatly reduced recently since we have both officially retired for the most part. I was a little wary at first when I heard we were having another capital campaign, but I was so happy to see that the $1.2 million goal was reasonable and attainable, and that the money would go to very important and fiscally responsible projects. While all three goals of the capital campaign are vital, the priority to repair and improve the community building and make it our first fossil fuel-free building really resonated with me. What a waste not to be using or renting out that building for all this time. And as property chair, Jim is particularly hoping that the upgrades will result in fewer repairs overall. And you heard from Katie, we are so close. We can reach this $1.2 million goal. As you just heard, we are over the $1 million mark. So I'm urging you to pledge to the capital campaign if you haven't already. And as a former annual budget drive co-chair, I'm also urging you to please submit your pledge to the annual budget drive as well. That money is critical to the day-to-day functioning of our church. It pays for our amazing ministers and staff, our utilities, property maintenance, etc. In short, any contribution is an investment to our facilities and to our beloved community. Many of us here invest time to help make UCSS the wonderful and enriching community that it is. But really, each one of us needs to invest the money as well to the capital campaign and to the annual budget drive. Any amount helps. Please and thank you.
So I know that was a lot of announcement and invitation. Shake it off for me with a minute. Find your candle. Does everyone have a candle from the front here? Great. At this time, we are going to pass the flame from our chalice throughout the sanctuary, just like we do on Christmas Eve, but today in honor of Candlemass and Imbolc. So please remember, just going to demonstrate again how we light candles here. You take the unlit candle, the one that is not yet on fire, and that's the one that bends over. And keep a hold of your paper thing. So unlit candle to lit candle. Of the world is right now transforming winter's cold into springtime's warmth. The energy of the sun is already at work, bringing new green life out of tiny seeds. For these gifts which we've done nothing to earn, yet which upon our lives are utterly dependent, we give thanks. We receive these gifts just as we receive these flames, remembering that through the acts of giving and receiving, our blessings are not halved, but grow exponentially. As we give and receive this light, this warmth, let us remember the safe way to pass the flame again. So now let's join in singing this beautiful night blooming jasmine song.
In the darkness we walk with light. In the darkness we walk with light. Like the night blooming jasmine, we light up the night. In the darkness, we walk with light. Let's try it as a round with just the congregation and then the choir after. In the darkness, we walk the darkness. We walk the darkness. We walk with like the night blooming jasmine, we light up the night. In the light of the night, we walk with darkness. Once more. In the darkness, we walk with darkness. In the darkness, we walk with light. Like the night blooming jasmine, we light up the night. In the light of the night, we walk with light. We walk with
Please join me in the words for extinguishing our chalice. Carry the flame of peace and love until we meet again.
Dear ones, as you go out into this week, may you know that you are loved, that you are not alone. Whatever Brigid's mantle means to you, may you feel yourself held in gentle, healing care. May you find ways to lay down your burdens and be refreshed. May you carry the fire of compassion, creativity, and care out into your life, wherever you go. Our worship now has ended, and our service begins.